Never write another consulting contract again. Hey, what's up? This is Pete here, and in today's video, I want to share with you how you can win big contracts with no consulting contract required. But before we get into today's video, please hit the like button and make sure if you haven't subscribed already, you know what to do. Hit the subscribe button. Let's make this happen. All right, let's get into the video. So you might be wondering, okay, Pete, you're really telling me that I can sell my consulting or my services to companies without a proposal? Like, is that even a thing? Is it possible? My answer to you in short is yes. But if you are going to stick around for the rest of the video, I will share a specific way that you can win contracts without writing a proposal. So you can take a breath in.
You're trapped in your mind.
And exhale, because why? Well, proposals are, if you've ever written a proposal before, if you've been trying to get into companies or sell your services to companies, it is the one sticking point. In fact, it's the most common question or objection, I should say, when people approach me and say, Pete, I would love to get my services or my consulting into companies, but how do you write a proposal? Where do I begin? Yes, you may want to propose to the person that you love so you can get married, but you don't necessarily need to write a proposal to win a consulting contract. Now, by the way, here's the disclaimer. This is not the only way to win contracts. You might be watching this video right now. You might be extremely successful by using proposals. That's okay. My way isn't the only way on planet Earth. There's many ways to success. Also, if you want to sell to big Fortune 500 companies, huge contracts, the chances are you're going to have to go through a bidding or a tender process, and there will be a number, or not just one, there will be an in-depth proposal that you'll need to do. Now, in today's video, I'm not talking about winning those huge contracts, but I'm talking about you as an individual being able to sell your consulting or your services to companies. And yes, you don't need a proposal for that. And there's a much easier and less painful way. But where we really need to start is by knowing why proposals might actually be slowing down or hindering your chances of actually winning a contract in the first place. Let me explain. I have a number of issues with proposals. I'm going to share 5 of them with you now. Number 1, a proposal takes too much time. Think about it. You have a great meeting, it goes so well, you sat down with a decision maker and they say, great, put together a proposal and come back to us. You then go away, you sit there for 3 days procrastinating, thinking I've got to write this proposal. And then on day 4, you decide, okay, I'm really going to put this proposal together. Maybe that's not your process, but you get the idea. Number 1, proposals take time. And that takes me on to number 2, is that you lose the sales momentum. I've found this, that going into companies and having meetings was great, but then the issue was that we then didn't carry on that momentum that had been built. And by the time I'd written a proposal, which might be by the following day, if I really wanted to get into a company, it then got emailed over. There'll be the reminder phone call, there'll be the reminder follow-up email to make sure they'd actually got the original email. And somewhere down the line, many weeks later, I finally get a response saying, oh yeah, we're going to check your proposal in this week's boardroom meeting. You think, it's been 6 weeks, so you get the idea. Number 3, a proposal can never sell you as well as you can. Sure enough, you can write down all of your services. You can say what a brilliant result you'll be able to gain with that business, how you'll be able to help them over the next year or 2 years, however long you work for the company. But the issue is that you're still translating your genius or the solution that your company can provide, and you're putting it on paper, and you're not sat in front of the decision maker as they're reading through it. So I've always believed that if anybody's going to sell you, it should be you. Later in this video, I'll share exactly how you can get yourself in front of the decision maker and ensure that the decision is made there and then without actually putting any pressure on the decision maker. The 4th issue I have with proposals is that once your proposal goes in, you are then being compared directly with 5, 10, maybe even 15 other competitors. And who's to say that somebody else hasn't written a better proposal than you have, or they've spoken more directly to the pain points that that company has, or that the decision maker has a personal preference for another company. Once your consulting or the solution that you offer is being compared against other competitors, you're no longer that go-to expert or that go-to consultant in the problem that you solve. And very much the decision is being made by a decision maker or by a procurement team who are making a decision based upon variables that might be outside of your control, perhaps on cost. Perhaps they've got a preconceived idea that they need to work with a big company. Now, if you're an individual selling consulting or services and you've got a proposal in, it doesn't matter how good your proposal is if the decision maker has made a decision already that She wants to work with a big company that have a team. And finally, number 5, it is just too much work to then eventually get a no. That's 5 of my bugbears with proposals. There's many more, but I'll share those for another video. Perhaps you've got some bugbears with proposals too. Please feel free to write below. But more so my personal experience of writing over 100 proposals, but also working with many companies over the years, the amount of proposals that I wrote and I put my heart and soul into that just simply didn't go ahead. I would estimate that somewhere around only 20%, if not less, of the proposals that I wrote converted into corporate clients. Now, most definitely the issue here was that I was not an expert in proposals. I don't claim to be an expert in them. I was up against all these big companies who had full-time dedicated team members writing these incredible proposals, and I was just doing the best I could with what I knew. The chances are you're doing the best that you can, and you don't want to be singled out for the wrong reasons that your proposals aren't as great as the work that you can deliver. Now, this brings me on to my final personal experience, and I'll share a specific example here. I was guaranteed a £80,000 contract. It was in the books, going ahead, and I was so excited to start this contract, which was going to be taking place over a year. I thought, great, that's some brilliant revenue into my business, and I can use that as a baseline, and I can build some other contracts to really top up what I'm doing and build a real brand. But the issue was that even though the company founder said to me, Pete, 100%, we are only going ahead with you. Just put whatever you need to in a proposal to formalize it, and then we'll ensure that we hurry it through and we can get started. I didn't hear anything for over a month, and I followed up with the founder, I followed up with the CEO, nothing. And then eventually I get a one-line email that says, "Hi Pete, thanks so much for your proposal. You provided some great insights of what we need to do in our business. Unfortunately, we've decided as a company we will not be going ahead because we found a more cost-effective option. Kind regards, Mr. CEO." I'm not going to lie to you, I was distraught. I was just starting to consult for companies, helping them to transform their sales, and I'm getting rejected with my first big offer that, remember, was guaranteed by the founder, who was a personal friend. And by the way, for the companies that did go ahead with my proposal, they would pick it apart so many times and quite literally say, "Pete, take this bit out, put this in, make sure you say this in the proposal." So eventually it wasn't even my proposal, it was their proposal. And it was only because they liked me and they just wanted me to work with them. But then I found myself a number of times working outside of my integrity. And believe me, when it comes to consulting, when it comes to delivering your service for a client, you need to be well within your integrity. So ultimately, all of this rejection led me to do what any sane person would do that's gradually going insane by spending 10 to 20 hours per week for over a year writing proposals to only hear a no. I found a different way. I recognized that I had one of two choices. Option number one was to learn how to write highly persuasive and contract-winning proposals. Option number two was to find a different way, which I'm going to share with you shortly, but option number one wasn't really an option. I bought some books on how to write proposals. I tried to follow the tips. It didn't work for me. Once again, my strategy today is not the strategy for everybody. But if you struggle with proposals or if you're not getting a good conversion, option number two, what I'm about to share with you, could be the route for you to take. So here's what I started doing. Instead of writing proposals, I started making the proposal a part of the actual meeting. Yes, I literally sat down with the decision maker. So Mr. or Mrs. Decision Maker, what is the ultimate goal you're looking to achieve in your business? And let's talk about this, let's flesh it out. And as they would start talking and sharing what they wanted to achieve over 6 or 12 months, I would say, can we pause for a moment? Do you have a flip chart? And they would look at me and say, what do you mean a flip chart? And I would say, well, at least a whiteboard or flip chart paper. We need something. And yes, this was a strategy I did in every single meeting, because the reality is I wanted to help those companies. I wanted to be in there. I wanted to start solving the problem. So why wait until I write a proposal, wait 6 months, follow up 20 times to potentially, maybe, fingers crossed, win the contract? Instead, why not get to work immediately helping that company? Sure enough, I had one or two weird looks from some CEOs, from sales directors, from some business owners, but most of the time they had a flip chart or a whiteboard. I would say, right, let's start by diving deep into the real challenges that could be happening in your business right now. And it could also be the reason why you brought me in today. We'd start sticking flip chart paper to the wall with blue tack. We'd write down number one challenge. And then I'd stand next to the CEO, the decision maker, and say, right, let's go into this. What's really happening in your business? And it was incredible because what you do is you empower the decision maker to start solving the problem there and then with you. They start to reveal the latent pain that they've been experiencing. In other words, the problems that they've been unaware of until they've actually stood next to you as the expert and started resolving that problem. And once you dive deep into what the actual problem is, not just the symptom, which is probably the reason why they're having the meeting with you, you then naturally lead to, well, let's figure out this solution. In other words, the proposal. And the decision maker is not even aware at the time, but what they're doing is they're writing their very own proposal right in front of you with your support. And then the best thing of all is when the decision maker says, this is all brilliant. Can you write up a proposal? You say, we've just built your proposal today. I cannot even begin to tell you how many barriers this brought down, how many proposals I never had to write again, and how it can help you sell your consulting or your solution to a company without losing momentum in the middle and being compared with all these other companies which are also trying to win the same bit of business. You have to stand out in a crowded marketplace. And that's not just about your solution being the best in the market, because every company is going to say that their solution is the best in the market. The real value is in how you communicate and how you influence from the get-go, the moment that you meet with someone. So that's it for today's video. Of course, there's loads more I can talk to you about consulting, sales, marketing, taking your business to the next level, but I can't do it unless you comment below, unless you're subscribed. Make sure you're subscribed. Thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next one.